Yes guys, welcome back. So another day, another walk, and another success story that I'm going to share with you today. This story is the story of Louise, one of our most recent success students. She's just secured her first rent-to-rent deal around 4 months into our program. What's extra exciting about this deal is she's basically got this deal with no money down almost, you know. So she's hardly put any of her own money into this deal, and she's going to be making around £700–800 per month in profit. So I'm going to explain to you exactly what she did, how she did it, and hopefully you can take some inspiration and some motivation from it. So as I said, we started working with Louise around 4 months ago. When we first spoke, she was very clear about what she wanted to achieve. She works a 9 to 5, and she was very clear on our first call. She wants to replace her income with rent-to-rent properties and eventually quit her job and then start buying properties with the profit from her rent-to-rent business, right? So similar to my story, she just wants to escape the rat race, buy her time back by building a cash flowing business, and then use the profits from that business to buy her own properties and rent them out and get financial freedom. So very clear, which is always a good thing. When I first speak to people, when they're that clear on what they want to achieve, I always know they're going to do well, because when they have a clear goal in mind, it means they put some thought into where they want to be, and they have a strong reason why, which means that when they do face some adversity, some difficulty, people tend to keep going when they have a strong reason to keep going, right? If someone's too comfortable and their life's okay without needing to really push past any point of pain, then when they do come up against any difficulty, they tend to give up. So she had a strong reason why, she had conviction when she spoke, and she was very clear on what she wanted to achieve. So she joined the program, I think it was around June, and we got straight to work. She set her business up, followed all the steps in the program, and within the first couple of weeks she was fully set up and ready to get going on the practical. Now she chose an area just outside of London, Stevenage, and that was where she chose to get started, right? And she went to work immediately. And the good thing about Louise is she won't mind me saying this either, she's very happy to have a chat. She's very chatty, very, I wouldn't say completely extroverted, but definitely got a character, and happy to have a conversation, which is a skill that you need in rent-to-rent, you know. And it can come, and you can develop it when you become more confident, but she naturally had that character where she will have a conversation with someone. So she went straight to work, going into all the estate agents in her chosen investment area and offering them the service, right? She didn't just go in there asking for their best performing properties. She stuck to what we teach, and she went in and started building a rapport, telling them what her service was, but then also explaining how maybe she could add value to them as estate agents, and if they had any difficult properties that weren't moving, maybe she could take them on, put some TLC into them, turn them around and make them work. So she led from a place of value, and she built a good rapport with quite a few estate agents in Stevenage quite quickly, just by being herself, being chatty and warm and friendly, you know. She started going on viewings, and she made her first offer in July, which was on a 5-bed HMO, I believe. She viewed it, she made her offer quite quickly, I think the following day, which we showed her how to do. And then a couple of days later, the estate agent was taking a while to get back to her, and I told her to chase them up, so she did. And the landlord chose to, I think, rent directly himself to tenants, or maybe go with a different company. I'm not sure exactly what the outcome was, but they didn't choose Louise anyway. So she was a bit discouraged from there, but she also took it really well, because I remember her saying, it's so soon into me joining the program. This was literally in the first 4 weeks, so very soon into joining the program. To be making an offer is already great progress, but to get your first deal would have been almost too good to be true. Even though we have had some people that have done that, it's quite rare that you can get your first deal in 4 weeks, you know, from complete novice. We have had some people like Kirk and Bilal do it, but they already had 3 rent-to-rent deals and they understood the business model and how to explain it, so they were already at a good intermediate slash professional level. So yeah, made her first offer, got rejected. She didn't let that discourage her. She kept going, she stayed motivated, and she kept pushing forward. She then started organising more viewings, and some of the properties wouldn't be the perfect fit. Some of them, the landlord didn't want to go with a company. Some of them, we couldn't make the numbers stack. The landlord wanted too much rent, or for whatever reason, they just weren't working out. But it didn't stop Louise from trying, right? She kept going. She kept going on viewing. She kept trying to do the numbers and analyze deals and try and make an offer. And her determination never really wavered. You know, she just, every time she did face any obstacle, she would just get back up the following week and go again, you know. And fast forward a couple weeks later, after a couple more viewings and a couple more offers actually that also got turned down, she started taking initiative and trying to find contractor tenants to go into the properties, and she started making offers to the tenants at the back end before she had a deal. Now this is something that we do teach inside our program, but Louise still had the initiative to actually go to a couple construction sites that she had seen in her investment area, and she started speaking to the site managers and the builders on site and just asking them, you know, do you need any accommodation for your staff? Have you got any of your colleagues staying in a hotel at the moment who would rather live in a house where they can feel more at home and cook for themselves and just feel like they're more at home away from home while they're working away? She went and had this conversation with a couple construction firms. Remember I told you she's chatty and she doesn't mind having a chat, right? So she's walked in there and just introduced herself and offered her service, which is 70% of marketing yourself, really. You know, being prepared to go and offer your service to someone. You never know who may need what you have to offer, and you'll never find out if you don't ask, right? So she went to a couple building sites, had a few conversations, and lo and behold, she got a call back from one of the site managers saying that they had a group of electricians that were working on a job for the next 12 to 18 months, and they needed accommodation as they were coming over from Ireland. So she shrewdly spoke to these contractors through their HR and negotiated a deal, right? She said, if I find a house in the area, would you pay me around £2,600, £2,700 a month to house 3 of your employees with all the bills included? I'll furnish it, I'll make it very homely and efficient, perfect for you guys to move in. Would you pay me that amount? Now they said absolutely, as they were currently living in a hotel paying closer to £3,500, £4,000 a month for 3 guys to stay with a room each. So this gave Louise huge confidence, right? Because not only had she come so close to getting her first property, but she now had the end user being the contractor tenants or guests at the back end that would pay her a premium once she finds a property. So now the pressure was on, right? Because she negotiated a deal and the clock was ticking because they needed accommodation fast. So Louise increased the volume, she kept going on viewings. We identified a few more properties for her to look at, and within a couple weeks she found one, she made an offer, and she got her offer accepted, which was just amazing. I remember her messaging me, and I've put it on my Instagram actually, the message that she sent me. She said she couldn't believe it, and I'll always love getting those messages because that's that breakthrough moment when all the hard work you've been putting in for weeks, for months, pays off. And I still get a buzz from hearing my students tell me about their stories and message me those things, because I remember exactly how that felt for me. So she got her offer accepted. Over the last couple of weeks she's been going through referencing whilst trying to keep the contractors warm, and she's sent them a contract. They've signed the contract. She's gone through the referencing process with the agent, who's now going to pass her on to the landlord to work directly with the landlord, as the agent was just doing a tenant find for the landlord and then stepping out of the way. I think over the next week or so the landlord's painting and decorating the house fresh, ready for Louise to take on. And within the next couple weeks the contractors are going to move in, and I think she's signed them up for a year, and after all of her costs she's going to be making around £700-800 a month profit, which is amazing. And here's the most impressive part. She's already collected payment from the contractors, right? So when it comes to her paying the landlord her first month rent, she's going to use the money from the contractors. So her startup investment needed for this deal has been next to nothing, because she's collected, I think, 2 months up front from the contractors, which is around £5,200, £5,300, and then she is paying the landlord around £1,500, and I think she's giving him a 2-week deposit as well. So she's paying the landlord around £2,250, £2,300, but she's collected £5,500 or £5,200, £5,300. So obviously she's going to hold on to the deposit just in case there were any damages or arrears, which there shouldn't be, because in my experience, when you work directly with a company like this, they see the accommodation as a business expense rather than like coming out of their personal income. So she's getting payment straight from the company, and normally businesses tend to be better at paying rent or any bill really than an individual, because they understand that it's a tax deductible expense, and that's just a cost of business. So this deal is basically only going to cost Louise whatever she spends on furnishings. The landlord's decorating it, so she hasn't got to do a refurb. She's just got to go to IKEA and maybe spend a couple grand in there. If she wanted to, she could put that on a 0% interest credit card or get a store card and pay it off monthly. But let's say worst case, this rent-to-rent deal that's going to make her £700-800 a month is going to cost her a couple grand in furniture. So she's basically created £700 to £800 per month in recurring profit by investing £2,000, which is an amazing achievement for someone's first deal. So that's Louise's story. She's got her first rent-to-rent deal. She'll be collecting the keys over the next couple of weeks. I'm sure you'll see it all over my Instagram. You can see me having conversations with Louise on YouTube. So make sure you go and watch those. And I'm sure she'll come on the podcast at some point and tell you her story in her own words. But it's been a journey with Louise. We're only just getting started. She's going to do so well from this. Rent to rent really suits her. Being an entrepreneur really suits her. She's got the spirit. She's got the right mindset. And she's got what it takes to make a real success in this space. So if you're anything like Louise, if you are determined and you want to replace your income with rent-to-rent properties that will allow you to only work a couple hours a day rather than 8-9 hours a day, then I'll put a link in this video description to book in a call. It's a free call, so don't worry. And on that call with me, we'll be able to have a chat, get to know each other, and see if we're a good fit to work together. If not, that's fine too. Keep watching the videos, keep getting inspired. And these are the powers of rent to rent, guys. A £2,000 investment making you £700 to £800 per month for a year, which is basically around £8,000-9,000, I think. So ask yourself, would you spend £2,000 to make back £8,000-9,000? You'd be crazy not to. I hope you've enjoyed this video, guys, and as always, I'll see you on the next one.